Welcome to the Fabulous Fifties and Beyond. I'm Jim Pollard, co-host with my wife Jeanetta. Today we're going to be talking about downtown Paducah and the Downtown After Dinner program that's here. Our guest is David Boggs. David is Promotion and Events Coordinator for this program. It's a program that has really grown through the past years. A lot of excitement, a lot of people come to downtown Paducah. You stay tuned and we'll talk more about it.
And he'd say, go with what you got. Start from where you are. Give it your best shot. Keep reaching for that star. Get in the race. Keep your own pace. Keep moving and never stop. Just go. Go with what you got.
Welcome back. David, why don't you share with us some of the history of downtown Paducah? How did it actually get started?
The Downtown After Dinner program began 12 years ago. We're entering our 12th season, and it was a group of concerned merchants downtown, really creating an event that will bring folks downtown to realize the great shopping, dining events that take place in downtown. And it was created as kind of a sidewalk festival. Businesses would have entertainers set up on their sidewalk, and it's grown into the event it is today, where we shut off 6 blocks of the street.
It's interesting, the different things that go on down there. I mean, when they block off the streets, I mean, the line dancing that just takes over one whole section of it most of the time. And that's a big crowd that comes in for that. It
is. It's the Night Moves Dance Group, Dance Club, and if I'm not mistaken, they've been participating from the early years. I've been involved with the program now for 4 years, and they've been involved every year since I've been there, as well as a lot of other artists as well. But I believe they've been there in the early years, just really creating a fan base, to get folks out there and get them moving.
It's also interesting how some of the entertainers have grown with the project also, haven't they? I mean, some of them that were kids when it first started are now adult entertainers. And
it's been a good jumping off spot for some entertainers as well. We've had a young lady, Jamie Wilson, she's changed her name to Jamie English, started out performing. She sings country, and she's recently signed with the record label in Nashville, Tennessee. So, it's a good jumping off spot for folks.
That's exciting.
Right. It's a good thing for them. Kind of poses us a little bit of a challenge because now, she's got such a busy schedule. We're looking for new entertainers. So.
But they're out there.
They are out there.
We lived in. I was born and raised in Nashville, and that's where I met her, and we got married. But I've said, they talk about all the talent in Nashville. Well, there's talent everywhere, and I think the biggest thing to becoming a star is being in the right place at the right time, because there's talent everywhere, and we do have a lot of talent.
We do have a lot of local talent from Paducah and the surrounding area as well.
Yeah.
And we're open to listen to any of those groups, any individuals, and try to schedule them for Downtown After Dinner.
Well, that's good to know. We try to put out information for people to know about that. So they just contact you.
Yes.
You'll interview them and audition them.
There's we ask them to submit some type of recording. Doesn't have to be a studio quality recording. But there is a small selection committee that listens to those recordings to determine if it is a good fit. And if so, we don't want to end up with all country one night, all contemporary Christian. We like to have a good mix, so we like to know what genre they are, so we know where to schedule them.
Well, you have a pretty good mix every night, don't you? Yeah, and doing that. Well, it's interesting to see how downtown Paducah is changing.
Right.
We've been back 14 years this November, and just the changes that we've seen in the period of time since we've been back. This is her home. She was born and raised here. But I met someone at the quilt convention this year, and he was back with his wife. He said, this is just the second time I've been here, but said my wife has been here every year. Said, and the first time I was here was for the second convention, which would have been, 23 years ago. And he said, I remember that when I came here, downtown Paducah was boarded up like downtown Iraq.
Right.
And he said, man, I can really see the differences here now.
That's going to pose some good problems for us with the Downtown After Dinner program, because there's going to be several storefronts that are going to be under development, and we may have to dodge a few dumpsters here or there, construction dumpsters, but we just ask that the folks that are going to come down and enjoy the event to be patient with us, because that's a good growing pain to have.
Yes, it is. And I really don't think people will mind, because it's it's such a fun night.
It is.
And it really doesn't cost, you can come down there and not spend anything.
Right. All the entertainers, there's no cost to listen to those entertainers. They do put out tip buckets, and we do ask folks to show their appreciation to them because they're giving of their time.
Right.
That's what's the amazing thing about the community of Paducah, what a giving community we are, that those entertainers perform. I mean, I book 17 weeks of entertainment, 5 to 6 entertainment acts each week, and we don't have a budget to pay them anything. So they're out there with their own time, using their own equipment, and so any little bit that the public can offer them and show their support helps them out too.
Let's talk a little bit about how it came about, how it's funded. I mean, I know you said a group of merchants decided to start doing it in the beginning. When did it become, shall we say, like a formal organization?
That I honestly don't know the
how
question.
did it do, I guess?
I don't really know how that came about as far as having its own advisory board and that sort of thing. It started out being funded and operating out of the Convention and Visitors Bureau office, ran by volunteers. Tom Irwin was the first organizer of the event, set the entertainment up, and just really gave of his time every Saturday night. There were a couple of folks in the Visitors Bureau office that stepped up to the plate and said, we'll volunteer, we'll help you on Saturday nights. And then it just became such an event, they realized that you've got to have, somebody's got to be responsible for that. And so 4 years ago, the city commission through Paducah Main Street created the promotion events coordinator position to handle several events in the downtown area, Downtown After Dinner being one of them. And so it's just been within 4 years that it's kind of come under an official umbrella. But it's really funded by the city. I mean, and from the public works setting up the barricades to the fire department setting up the barricades with the police, patrols being down there. It really is a total, pretty much a huge city event.
Well, I think it speaks well of Paducah for people to be able to get out and walk the streets on Saturday night safely and enjoy themselves.
You're right. It's a great safe event. It's it's a family event. We very strongly, I very strongly listen to the lyrics. If it's not something, it may be a little loud. It may not be your taste of music, but lyrics-wise, there's going to be no foul language or anything like that. We just don't allow it. It's a great family event.
Well, that's really a good thing. And and you do have to have different types of music for different people. Now, the young people love the loud music.
Right.
And people our age don't, but that's okay.
That was one of the things, I think last year was one of the first years, really some music, we started scheduling some music that kind of appealed more to the younger crowd. And I think it's important for them to have a safe place to go as well.
It's very important.
And I think it's important that we realize we may not like it. It may sound like screaming, but that's what they enjoy doing. And I would prefer to have them be in a safe location as opposed to just roaming somewhere.
Oh, and that's a tremendous attitude, and I like that attitude about it also, because Saturday night is when a lot of teenagers get in trouble because they don't have a safe, good place to go to. And I think it's great that you look at it in that avenue. And they do need a place, and we adults, we seniors, need to realize that we need to provide for them too.
And also just to give them the opportunity to perform.
Right.
This is, like you say, a tremendous thing.
I've seen several of the younger bands mature over the 3 or 4 years that I've been there. Their sound has matured. They've become quality acts. It may have started out as some buddies just playing in a garage, but now, they've got their own equipment. They're traveling. They're getting booked on different gigs, and it's kind of been interesting and fun to watch those young guys and girls mature as well.
Yeah, we've worked with youth for years, and it's always rewarding and exciting to watch them develop and mature in what they're doing and become involved in the community also.
Right.
So I mean, this is exciting. Well, David, we're about ready to take a break here and talk about our nutrition segment. So we'll take a break here, and then Jeanetta's going to get with Pam Ward, our nutritionist, and they're going to talk to us about proper eating habits, which you can tell I don't pay too much attention to, but nevertheless they stay on me all the time. So you stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
welcome back Pam Ward today. Pam is registered dietitian with Western Baptist Hospital, and she comes to share with us each week. So what are we going to be talking about today, Pam?
Today I want to talk about how to make a good choice as far as a multivitamin goes. There are so many of them out there that I think it can get confusing.
That is very true. And a lot of them will tell you the more expensive, the better they are.
And that is not not the truth. The generic, if you compare a generic vitamin and a name brand vitamin, and they contain the same ingredients or same amount, there's really not a lot of difference. You don't have to buy one of those expensive name brands. In fact, a lot of the generic or store brands are made by those folks just under a different label. So don't buy into that you have to buy the most expensive one to get a good vitamin.
Because like you say, it's a lot of times made by the same company.
It really is. They just make it under a different label.
And they advertise a lot.
Oh, they do. And and people like that brand recognition. We see it and go, oh yeah, that one will do this for me and that one will do that for me. And if you look at the ingredient list, in fact, a lot of the store brands or generic brands will now say comparable to, in fine print,
yes,
so that you can tell. And there's no, in fact, I take a generic multivitamin. There's no problem with that.
And so you can save a lot of money by buying the.
Because vitamins can be expensive.
Yes,
they really can be. And something you have to be careful with is people don't realize, or we get in that mindset if a little is good, then a lot must be that much better. And these vitamins that give you 1,000% of your daily needs of this particular mineral or vitamin, that's not a good option. Unfortunately, particularly with our fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, where we can store them, too much can be a bad thing. Too much of these things can actually cause problems. Too much vitamin A has been linked to calcium loss through the urine, which can decrease your bone density. There's several instances like that. So a lot is not necessarily a good thing. When you look at your ingredient list, you don't want to see, these 1,000, 1,500. You're looking at 100% or less. Now, a lot of, for example, calcium, you won't see 100% in a vitamin simply because it's too bulky. They can't put it in there and keep the pill a manageable size. So if you need calcium, you're probably going to have to take an extra calcium supplement. And that's something, it's funny, I see people take multivitamins, but I don't see a lot of people take calcium, whereas particularly most women I know would benefit from it. If you don't eat or drink 3 servings of dairy products a day, a calcium supplement is a wonderful idea.
Now, if you need, I'm supposed to take 1,200 a day. Mm-hmm. So should you take their 2 tablets together or at separate times?
It's better at separate times. The absorption is I believe it's 12, what they call a half-life, 12-hour half-life. So you're better off to split it. And when you take your multivitamins, you're actually better off to take it with a meal, preferably your biggest meal of the day. Now, if you just can't remember that, I take mine first thing in the morning most of the time because I don't have it with me, at work. But taking it with that largest meal will increase the absorption, and it also will decrease the risk of stomach upset. Some people, if it contains iron, for example, I have a lot of people tell me that the iron upsets their stomach, and if you do have problems with that, definitely take it with a meal, and you'll absorb it better anyway, but your stomach shouldn't hurt.
Okay, and I know that some people have problems with the fish oil.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fish oil vitamin. And they have problems with that.
They do, and fortunately, they've changed the composition of a lot of those. They've deodorized them, and you don't tend to have that reflux that people had with it. But again, if whatever the vitamin supplement is, you can always take it with food. You can always take it with food, and hopefully that will decrease the discomfort.
So that's always a rule that you can follow.
It's always a rule you can follow. I can't think of any vitamin that would not fit with that, because you hopefully get them in your food anyway. But I read that only about 3% of us actually meet our daily needs through our diet. So that means 97% of us could probably benefit from a multivitamin.
Well, and that's kind of sad too, isn't it?
Well, it really is.
That we don't.
It really is. But anymore they recommend, I believe it's up to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And how many people actually get that?
That's a lot.
That's a lot. It really is. You're talking about at least 3 at each meal, and most of us don't get that. So we're fortunate that we have the vitamins that we can go to. And speaking of the fruits, something a lot of people don't realize is smokers need extra vitamin C. So, that's something to keep in mind. If you're a smoker, you do want to look at one with a higher percentage of vitamin C. People with chronic diseases will probably always benefit from a multivitamin because often their needs are a little bit higher because of the disease state. So those folks could benefit from one too.
Okay. Okay, are there some other things that we need to know about?
Well, just some
the vitamins.
The vitamins, just some old wives' tales that maybe I have a lot of people that think that vitamins should boost their energy, and they don't. They're not an energy pill. They're just for good health. They're not going to do anything to boost your energy. So don't buy into that. Watch vitamins that have ginseng or ginkgo biloba or whatever added to them, because there's really been shown no benefit to that. And with these supplements, when you get into these herbal supplements like that, the thing to be aware of is they're not regulated. They're not regulated by the FDA like vitamins are. So they can basically make any claim they want to. They may or may not contain what they say they do. They may contain more, they may contain less, they may contain something totally different. So be very careful with those herbal supplements. You're not always getting what you think you are. If you choose to take an herbal supplement, please make sure your physician knows, because so many of them can interact with medications and not to your benefit, so make sure your physician knows. If you have any questions before you start one, either talk to your physician or talk to your pharmacist and let them educate you some on it. But be very careful with herbal supplements.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Pam, and we look forward to seeing you next week, and we'll be right back.
Our guest today is David Boggs, and David is the coordinator of promotion and events for Paducah Downtown After Dinner. Big mouthful, David. But, Downtown After Dinner in Paducah is an exciting time, and we want to continue to talk about it. We want to talk about some of the up-and-coming things, when it's going to start this year, how long it's going to be, and some of the changes, some of the exciting things that are going to be happening. David, I'm going to turn it over to you because you know what they are.
Okay. Downtown After Dinner begins Saturday, May 17th, runs through Saturday, September 13th. The times of the event are from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Of course, that can be canceled because of rain, inclement weather, that sort of thing. Just be listening to the news, radio station, and that sort of thing for that. Some of the changes this year, there's so many things going on in Paducah right now that we have to alter our schedule a little bit. But we work in cooperation with some of these events. The Paducah Symphony Orchestra is having their Pops concert on June 7th, which this year I believe it's a family type music. If I'm not mistaken, it's Disney style music. I may be incorrect on that one, but I believe that's what it is, and they're trying to get some families down there. In July 26th, I believe is the date, is the Paducah Summer Festival. That's always a fun-filled week of activities, and we kind of shorten our Downtown After Dinner for that. August 16th is the weekend of the River's Edge Film Festival, which has grown into a huge event, and there's so many activities going on with that we need to abbreviate our event, but those are great things that add to the fun part of Downtown After Dinner. It just adds a different fold to the fabric, so to speak, of things that can be done down there.
I think what's really neat is that people can come, they can bring their kids, and
Right.
That's just one of the great things about it.
What we were talking about during the break about a newsletter, an email letter where they can stay
Sure.
abreast of what's going on?
If the viewers want to go to www.paducahmainevents.com, at the bottom of that page, they can go there on a weekly basis and see who the entertainment is. But if they want to find out who the entertainment is before it's posted on the website, before it's sent out to the media, if they'll sign up for that email newsletter, we'll get that out to them as quick as everything is nailed down during that week. Usually we'll mail it out to them on Monday or Tuesday, and that's a free newsletter. They just have to go to that website to sign up for that.
The internet has made communication so much better.
Yes.
It's where you can, and it's instant communication.
Well, and it's also so much less expensive. If
It
you
is.
have to mail
It
those
is.
things out to everybody.
If we had to mail them out, we wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah,
Right.
because so far I've had about 50 people sign up for the email newsletter, and I'm sure the more we talk about it, the more we're
you'll
going to get. You
Right.
know, so it would be difficult to send that out on a weekly basis.
Right, right. Just compiling it.
Right.
Well,
and
and then-
printing it and then getting it mailed.
And the cost of it.
Right.
The mail doesn't get any cheaper either, does
No,
it?
it
No,
doesn't.
it just went up again.
What about classic cars this year?
Classic cars this year. We welcome all those folks down there. We enjoy looking at their cars, the hard work they put into that. The past couple of years, there's been some development taking place downtown with new condominium projects and that sort of thing. And there's been some areas we haven't been able to allow cars to park, but this year that development project is near enough completion that classic cars are once again allowed to park on 2nd Street. That gives them they're a little more included in the event area when they're there. And most of those spaces on 2nd Street, they can leave whenever they need to leave. If it gets a little too warm and they need to leave a little early, that's okay to do. But again, there on Broadway, there's parking as well. If you do park on Broadway, you do need to stay until the event is over. That's for a public safety issue. We just ask that you contact our office, Paducah Main Street, and we'll get you set up to get a permit and that sort of thing for your vehicle, because you do have to have a permit to be in the festival area.
Is that permit for a site location as well? They just need the permit and they park it anywhere they can.
Yes, the cars are on the spaces are on a first come first served basis. And once you get that permit, it's good for the full season. You don't have to get a permit each week. We just give you, this year they happen to be bright orange, and we just look for that big bright orange piece of paper in your car with a specific number.
Mm-hmm. They have some neat cars down there.
They do. I've gained a lot of respect for the hard work that those men and women put into those vehicles. I really don't think I would have the tenacity to go through and restore the minute details that they do with those vehicles.
But
Well-
this is a big thing. And the ones who do it love it. Just
They do.
Yeah.
That's what we're working on, having another cruise in this year. We did that last year, and we just weren't able for the kickoff event to finalize the funding for that event, but hopefully we'll be able to announce that within the next couple of weeks. A cruise in is just where all the classic cars will gather at a certain point, and we'll all drive down the street together, and we'll have reserved parking in the parking lot and that sort of thing. So that's something we're working on, and we hope we'll be able to announce those details in the next couple of weeks.
Have you had in the past, or have you considered having a Corvette show?
We do not, but there is a Corvette club that has a Corvette show it's the first or second week in September. It's the Four Rivers Corvette Club, and they have their own Corvette show. It's in the Farmers Market parking lot is where that show takes place.
Okay.
And then there's another huge car show. It's the River 10 Rod Run. It's a hot rod show that takes place the last of May, 1st of June, whatever those dates are.
That's the charity ride show that's coming
Yes,
up. Yeah,
yes.
I noticed it's last of May, 1st of June
Yes.
this year on that
I believe
weekend.
the 31st and 1st, May 31st,
Something like that,
June the
yeah.
1st. And then the Corvette show, I believe, is the weekend of September 13th.
I think people come from a long distance
They
sometimes
do.
to get in these, don't they?
They really do. I mean, they're just like the quilters come from all over the
Right.
country for the quilt show. That car show brings folks in from all over the country for that car show. They bring in several hundred cars is what's shown there. And I know the charities that they donate money to are very appreciative of that as well.
Right.
Well, it also helps our economy.
Right.
Because they're going to have to eat somewhere and sleep somewhere.
And sleep somewhere. So it's just
Right.
a great event to continue to have great thing to continue to have these events grow and get larger and larger and larger. And we're happy that we can help facilitate that through the Downtown After Dinner program, through Paducah Main Street and that sort of thing. We're very happy to assist with those
I
things.
remember the first barbecue on the river we went to, and man, that thing has grown. I mean, the first one we went to was when we first came back, and we went down there on Friday expecting to eat. Well, that
There
year
was
they didn't even
nothing.
have barbecue on Friday nights, you know.
Right. We're working on barbecue on the river as we speak too. Those applications are coming in daily, and that's coming up towards the end of September, and that's turned into a huge event as well.
Well, 2 years ago I got to be a judge, and I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Because he likes to eat.
Yeah.
But of course, now all the barbecue wasn't that good, I must admit.
That's all
But
we have.
most of it
We
was.
got to name a winner. So
Right, but it's and they are. It's to the point that almost every weekend, and if you consider the downtown program, every weekend there's something to do in Paducah.
there is. It's a good problem to have. You know, there's a few bumps in the road that we deal with that, but we're more than happy to talk with anybody. If space is available, you know, we can work through a process and try to facilitate them with an event.
Right. Well, Dave, we're running down on time. Is there any particular thing that we want to bring up here before we?
Just check out that website, PaducahMainEvents.com. That's where they can get the most up-to-date information about the entertainers. Typically, we post that on Tuesdays before the Saturday event. It's hard for us to do anything different because just as sure as I do, people's schedules change and I have to change everything. So
Right.
typically, it's posted sometime around lunchtime on Tuesday for the upcoming Saturday.
Well, that's good. Well, listen, we really appreciate you being here today and updating us on what's happening in downtown Paducah. And we know that there are a lot of exciting things that we didn't even get into
Right.
today. And I think one of the real exciting things is it looks like we are going to get a new convention center and some new hotels. And I think that'll be
Right.
great for Paducah also. You know, we need those. If we're going to keep bringing more people in from out of town, we need to provide for them also.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that we're going to see in the future. But it's just, there's so many good things that are going on. But we're glad that you came. And
Thanks for having
anytime
me.
you've got anything that you want to talk about in special or anything's coming up, you can get in touch with us and we'll be glad to talk about it. Our audience is the audience that does like to get out and go like that. That's the big thing about it, you know. And they're supportive of things like that in Paducah, and most of them support Paducah.
And we might mention that they need to bring their own chairs.
Yes,
don't they?
yes.
If
Bring
they-
your chairs
if
with
they
you,
wanna
sit down and walk. You know, if you listen to one band for a couple minutes and decide you don't like
Move.
them, pick up your chair and walk down to the next one. So.
And that's a nice thing about it, too. All right. Well, we are about out of time, and we appreciate you being with us this year. And just remember that you can always find us on the web, and also you can tell your friends about our program. And now, if you go to the West Kentucky Technical College website, you can find out that our program is being streamed on the internet. You can tell your friends about it anywhere, that they can find out what's going on in Paducah and what's available for them. Again, we want to thank you for watching. Invite you to come back next week. We'll have another exciting program for you. And always remember, use it or lose it.
Can't see as well as I used to. Can't run as far or as fast. Sometimes I think that the old me is becoming exactly that. But when I start thinking